I was only 30 years old when my younger brother looked at me across our parents' dining table, smiled, and said, "You're still single. If you died tomorrow, nobody would even notice." Everyone laughed. Even my mother forced a smile and whispered, "He's just joking." I stayed silent, picked up my glass, and noticed a folder sitting beside my father's chair. The top page had my name on it. Out of curiosity, I opened it, and my heart stopped. It was a property transfer agreement with my signature already on it. The only problem was, I had never signed anything. I slowly looked around the table. Nobody looked surprised. My brother calmly took the papers back and said, "Relax. Dad wanted to transfer the family house to me. We just helped with the paperwork because you're always busy." My father avoided eye contact. My mother looked nervous, and my sister-in-law smirked before saying, "It's not like you'll ever need the house. You don't even have a family." In that moment, they thought they had humiliated me. What they didn't know was that before becoming a cybersecurity consultant, I had spent 8 years working with a federal financial crimes task force, investigating identity theft, forged signatures, and digital fraud. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I simply smiled, apologized for overreacting, and left the house. The moment I got into my car, I started recording voice notes, saved copies of every family message, and called my attorney instead of my brother. Within 2 hours, I had frozen every legal transaction connected to that property, requested certified copies of the documents, and hired a forensic handwriting expert. That evening, my brother called, acting concerned. "You okay? Don't make this a big deal." I pretended to believe him and replied softly, "Maybe you're right. Maybe I just misunderstood." He laughed and said, "Good. I knew you'd come around." What he didn't realize was that his confidence had already become my strongest evidence. The next morning, the forensic report arrived, and one sentence changed everything. The signature on the transfer agreement is a professionally traced forgery. But that wasn't even the worst part. Hidden inside the document metadata was the name of the computer that created the file, and it belonged to my own brother's office. I stared at the screen, smiled for the first time in days, and whispered, "Now, the real investigation begins." For the next 6 days, I acted exactly the way my brother expected me to act, confused, emotional, and ready to give up. I even called him and apologized for misunderstanding the paperwork. He laughed and said, "See? I told you everything was legal." That single sentence was recorded. Meanwhile, my attorney obtained security footage from the notary office, listed on the forged documents. The footage showed something shocking. I had never entered that office. Instead, my brother walked in with my sister-in-law, carrying a folder full of documents. A few hours later, the notary's digital certificate had been used to approve the transfer under my name. The deeper we investigated, the uglier the truth became. My brother hadn't only forged my signature, he had secretly taken copies of my passport, tax records, and driver's license months earlier, while helping me move into my new apartment after our father's surgery. He had planned everything long before that family dinner. Then my private investigator uncovered another bombshell. My brother was drowning in debt, over $420,000 from failed cryptocurrency investments, luxury car loans, and online gambling. The bank had already warned him that foreclosure was coming unless he found money immediately. That's when the family house became his target, and I became the easiest victim. But the biggest surprise came from my mother. She secretly visited my apartment late one evening, crying. She admitted she had seen my brother practicing my signature dozens of times on blank paper months earlier, but he convinced her it was just paperwork. Dad had already approved. She handed me a small notebook she had found hidden inside his desk. Every page contained copies of my signature, over and over again. until they looked almost identical to mine. That notebook became the strongest physical evidence in the entire case. Then I made my move. I invited my brother to lunch and told him I had accepted everything. I even said, honestly, I don't care about the house anymore. Dad wanted you to have it. His shoulders relaxed instantly. Then he smiled and whispered something he thought would never leave that restaurant. I knew you'd never fight back. You're too soft. What he didn't know was that every word was being recorded, and 2 investigators were sitting just 3 tables behind us. As he stood up to leave, he shook my hand and proudly said, "Thanks for making this easy." I smiled back, looked him straight in the eyes, and quietly replied, "Enjoy your freedom while it lasts, because tomorrow morning, everything you own will be under criminal investigation." 6 months later, I walked into the county courthouse wearing the same navy blue suit I had worn to my father's funeral. My brother walked in a few minutes later with a confident smile, convinced this would end with a small family settlement. The moment the judge entered, my attorney stood up and submitted every piece of evidence we had collected: the forged signatures, the security footage, the restaurant recording, my mother's notebook filled with hundreds of copied versions of my signature, and the digital metadata proving the fake documents had been created from my brother's office computer. The courtroom fell completely silent. My brother's lawyer asked for a short break, but it was already too late. The judge looked directly at my brother and asked one simple question. "Did you ever receive written permission from your brother to transfer this property?" He couldn't answer. His silence lasted almost 20 seconds before he quietly whispered, "No." That single word destroyed his entire defense. Within minutes, the judge ruled the property transfer completely fraudulent, canceled every forged document, and referred the case to the district attorney for criminal prosecution. As deputies approached him, my brother turned toward me with tears in his eyes and said, "Please, don't do this. We're family." I looked at him calmly and replied, "You stopped treating me like family the moment you forged my name." My sister-in-law broke down crying, blaming everything on financial stress. But the investigators had already uncovered years of gambling debt, fake loan applications, and multiple attempts to steal identities from other relatives. This wasn't their first fraud. I was simply the first person who fought back. 3 months later, my brother accepted a plea deal that included prison time, restitution, and a permanent criminal record. The family house was legally returned to my name, but I made a decision that shocked everyone. Instead of moving back in, I sold the property and used part of the money to establish a legal aid fund that helps victims of identity theft and financial fraud. My mother apologized every day for staying silent, and over time, we slowly rebuilt our relationship. As for my brother, the last message I ever received from him simply read, "I never thought you'd destroy my life over a house." I never replied, because this was never about a house. It was about trust. Houses can be rebuilt. Money can be earned again. But once someone chooses greed over family, some doors close forever. If there's one lesson I learned at 30, it's this: never underestimate a quiet person. Sometimes they're not staying silent because they're weak. They're staying silent because they're collecting evidence.